Hi everyone. It's about 2 weeks or so before the start of our class, and I'm preparing the whole course in advance, as you might imagine. And I thought that it would be good for you to be able to see and hear me before you even get into the nitty-gritty of the class. Do realize that I'm basically talking into my telephone, so this is sort of a moving selfie, and it's a little bit, a little bit strange. And I'm not in my office; I'm in my house in a corner of it. But let me just kind of plunge into this because I want to make 3 or 4 points before the class really starts, and before, as I'm saying, you have to start turning out assignments and discussing. Okay, here goes. First of all, this is a very special course, and this is the special nature of the course, something that I could talk hours about, but I'm going to try to get it down into 3 or 4 sentences. What we're doing in this class is taking a large handful of really important philosophical texts, starting roughly in 400 BC, running until about the beginning of the 19th century. And what I've done is I've chosen these texts very, very carefully to keep them short and to keep them as significant as possible. So that's sort of one axis of the class, one axis of the class. The other part of the class is using these ideas and these philosophers as a series of lenses onto what I take to be the most important themes or trends in our contemporary life. So what we're really doing is marshaling the richness of our tradition on the one hand, and looking at the sort of, I always want to call them sore spots, that is the most controversial elements of contemporary life. Okay, now, as I said, obviously we could talk for hours about that, but I don't want to. I want to use that, what I just said, as the frame for my sense of this class. Okay, my sense of this class is that it is a class where the last thing we want is stress. The last thing we want is artificial pressure put on you. Okay, why? Because the assignments that you're going to be graded on and are going to be doing in this class, and the interactions that we're going to be doing, are going to be highly personal and to some extent subjective, and requiring your full reflection on your deepest thoughts. Okay, so if I turn this into a rat race, if I turn this into a really stressful experience, you're not going to be able to do it well. Whereas, on the other hand, if I do everything I possibly can to take the pressures off of you and to keep the assignments, first of all, in terms of quantity, the right number. This is something you'll immediately see after you start looking at the class. That's why I wanted to supply this video first. You'll see that the number of assignments is not large. It's, if anything, small. And we don't rush through anything. We really take our time with absolutely everything in the class. I'm very flexible about due dates, and I'll talk to you more about this in the actual intricacies of the policies in the class. I'm very flexible about due dates. If it takes you an extra 3, 4, 5 days to finish the papers, all the better. If you are running sort of chronically, a couple of days behind, that's fine. I don't care about that kind of stuff. The important thing here is that you read everything very carefully, and you really think hard about it, and you write really good essays and discussion responses. It's pretty, at one level, it's really, really simple. Okay, so that's my second point. This is a class where I do everything I possibly can as your prof to take the stress off you and take the anxiety and keep things fair, and then more than fair. Point number 3 is my own availability. I'm basically always there to give you a hand. Now, there's something that I do that's a little bit peculiar, and that is I think it's a very good idea for you when you have questions to text me. I'm sorry. My telephone number is all over our classroom. It is 301-728-5175. I have two kids in college. They text me like, every 20 minutes. And so it is very easy. It's not inconvenient at all for me to respond to your text messages. Also, in this class, because I do want to diffuse the anxiety, I think it works really well. If you have a question, just ask. And the fastest way to ask it is say, hey, Mr. Professor, and then shoot me a text message. In most cases, I respond, if not instantaneously, pretty quick, way under 24 hours. For the most part. Okay, so that's the third point. I'm really accessible. I really like that direct contact. The other thing is, the final point that I want to make here is that we'll be having totally optional, non-mandatory chat sessions every Sunday. The reason for this is that because of the nature of the course, because we're dealing with these problems that are our true problems, and then that affect everyone in the deepest way, you're going to have questions and you're going to need some guidance. So every Sunday, completely optional. You do not have to attend. I know people have all kinds of things to do on Sundays. So the time that I start with is 8 o'clock. I mean, quite frankly, I kind of do it either before or after the NFL game once we get into the NFL season. And we can adjust the times for a few, for you, sorry. Okay, I try to keep these videos under 5 or 6 minutes because they load much more easily and they don't corrupt. As I said, it's just on my phone is all I'm doing here. Okay, I'm going to reach across and close. If you have any questions, just text me, 301-728-5175.